Firestorm, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
So last week we had some interesting conversation about the Bad Batch, Andor. This week we're going to take a look at Star Wars, The Rabbit Hole. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe. Of course, with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Can't complain too much.
Right.
So, we're going to get to that rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. Every now and then, you take a deep dive, right?
Yeah, we got to do it. We got to do it. You know, you see one and you just got to go in there.
Absolutely.
See if it goes anywhere or if it's just a maze of tunnels that don't make any damn sense.
Right.
And it could be either or.
It could be. It could be either or. It's we'll find out.
But first, we're gonna look at some news.
Okay.
First up, Thrawn Ascendancy's coming up, right? Second book, Greater Good.
Right.
And Timothy, that guy. Timothy Zahn.
Yeah.
Is going to be hosting a virtual book launch.
Right. Seems like that's a theme here recently, right?
Yeah, I mean, with the lack of, conventions and things like that, this makes a lot of sense to do something like this, especially for a series like Thrawn, right? It's got a good following.
Right.
A lot of people love Thrawn.
That's for sure. What was I going to say? I don't know. I got to be honest. I haven't read the first one yet. So,
Ooh.
I know. But.
Well, I have.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm excited for the second book.
Cool.
Cool.
Yep.
Thursday, April 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Nice. So, streaming live. Says tickets for the live stream are available from $5 with a special offer of a signed book plate and live stream ticket for $29.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal. Both tickets will also give you the opportunity to submit a question. So, it doesn't say that he will necessarily answer your question, but you can submit a question. That's
Words matter here.
Exactly.
You can submit it, but there's someone over there crumbling up the papers and throwing it behind them like, nope.
Exactly, yeah.
Nope.
Not this one. No. What are you thinking? God. So another interesting note from Timothy Zahn, though, is apparently book 3 from this series will be coming out November 16th of this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Seems
Not
like
wasting any time.
Yeah. It's kind of, not going to have a long wait for the next one. It's kind of cool.
You think he's done? He's like, I just want this over with.
I want it over with. Yeah. Enough already. You never know. But hey.
I said, yeah, I'll do Star Wars again. What was I thinking?
Right. Maybe that could be your question for him. Do you regret doing Star Wars again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you retiring or something?
Right.
Yeah. Guaranteed those will end up crumpled up on the floor.
Absolutely. We have no further comment at this time.
Yep. In fact, not even no further comment. We're just not going to comment.
Right.
Sorry, we did not receive your question in time. It's a month away.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like to see stuff like that.
Greater Good.
Especially for something like Thrawn.
Yeah, definitely. Very popular character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Definitely warrants kind of like his own isolated release here. I like it. So
maybe they're trying to get it out of the way because he's going to be showing up in The Mandalorian.
You know, It's possible.
Let's get the prequels out of the way because we got to start talking, current events.
Exactly. There've been some I guess we can call them marketing tactics that they used like this. I'm blanking on the name of the book. Released not long prior to Rogue One.
What was the name of that book?
I know we both read it, Joe.
Yes.
But anyway, it told the story of Galen Erso and Krennic, and it gave you their whole backstory, their history. And, if you read that book prior to going in to see Rogue One, you had a deep, detailed, backgrounder for what you saw on the screen.
All right. Catalyst.
That's it. Beautiful. Good work, Joe. So if they're, they could definitely be using this as promotion, especially if, Thrawn's going to end up on our television screens in the near future. So,
I mean, he got name dropped.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I don't think that, I would say either on The Mandalorian or Ahsoka.
Right.
This character is going to show up.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way they're going to, sidestep the opportunity here to, put Thrawn on the screen. That's that. I don't know. I see him jumping all over this.
Yeah, and with that November release, that'll be right before Book of Boba Fett. A little ways before The Mandalorian, which I think The Mandalorian would be the most likely show aside from Ahsoka.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if The Mandalorian might be kind of like this, because what we've seen so far is it looks like The Mandalorian could be the launching pad for many different shows. I wonder if what we might see now is that it's going to be kind of like the glue to tie a bunch of these other shows together,
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely season 2, without a doubt.
Right.
Here's this character, here's this character, here's this character.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue, even though I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, if it's done right, I think it could be okay. It'd just be the kind of thing where Din Djarin just finds himself in wrong place, wrong time all the time. But we'll see.
He meets more new people than literally anyone ever.
Exactly.
And not just more new people, but more important people.
Yeah. Key players in the history of the galaxy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked a few weeks back about E3.
Yep.
And how E3 was one of the conventions that said they're not hosting a live event this year, but didn't give any plans for anything in the future.
Right.
Well, that's changed. E3 is doing a virtual event.
Okay. Yeah. Seems to be a trend, right? Like we said.
Yep. Virtual event. This is a thing now. It's going to take place June 12th through the 15th.
Okay.
And this is where it got interesting for me. So they have early commitments from Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers Games, Koch Media, and more to come. I just found it interesting that, okay, yes, they have this more to come, parachute right here.
Yeah.
But Nintendo, Xbox, and then it goes into developers. So you take the two console giants, two of the big three.
Right.
Mention them up front, and then you go into developers. Notably absent is Sony PlayStation.
Huh.
And I just wonder, is Sony going to stay away from this event, host maybe their own event?
You almost have to wonder because I don't. Okay, I gotta watch my words here. I think because some people may not take this the right way. I don't want to say that it's easy, right, to do a virtual event because I'm sure it is very difficult to do. But that might be the sort of thing that a company as large as Sony, given as much time as we've had to start looking into these things, says we can do our own thing and we will be the focus of it, and
Right.
all of the attention will be on us. And I could see that happening,
Yeah, I mean, you look at other companies that do this, like Blizzard, right?
Right.
Blizzard has their own event every year
Right.
with BlizzCon. And, Sony could pull this off. And I guarantee Sony's going to be able to bring in developers like, Konami and Ubisoft. And
Sure. I mean, the only thing I would imagine is that, you might get the same kind of presentation from them as they gave at E3, right? But it is odd that they're noticeably absent.
yeah, and I understand it's the initial announcement,
Sure.
but it just seems like that would be at the forefront, right? You would expect if they're going to do this event, you have the big console manufacturers right away,
Yeah. I mean,
and you lead with Nintendo and Xbox.
right.
Like, I think this would be less of a standout if they would have said, Capcom, list all them off and then say, and Nintendo and Xbox. Like, you put those at the end and it's like, and then, finish with more to come. That almost teases that Sony's coming, but
Right.
they're just, letting it marinate for a second.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Sony must have something big. They're teasing us. But with this, it's like, Sony might not be coming.
Right. It's kind of how and where you say it in the announcement, right? Kind of strange.
Yeah, I understand I'm being a little nitpicky here, but
Yeah, but I mean, things are written certain ways because they are a certain way, usually, There's reasons behind this kind of stuff.
yeah, I mean, and this one was probably meant to be a dig.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm sure that with an announcement like this it's not, oops, we forgot about Sony.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost read their announcement like, with early commitments from Nintendo, Xbox, Sony sucks, Capcom, Konami,
Right. Exactly. I don't know. That's interesting. Like I said, I don't want to make anybody mad by saying, yeah, it's easy to put a virtual thing together because, I'm sure it's not. I don't do that for, this is what we do right here. But,
I don't know. It's kind of easy, I guess. 'Cause, I mean,
stop.
oh man, I've seen some virtual events that like there's YouTube channels that are way better produced.
Well, I'm sure. I think
You're comparing like a multi-million-dollar corporation with, someone doing something in their basement. You would expect a multi-million-dollar corporation to do a better job.
I would say though that
They
think we were all caught off guard, with the way we had to adjust for things here, and I think maybe that they've spent some time over the past year learning what it takes to get something like this done at a more pro level. You know what I'm saying? The people that have been doing YouTube channels and stuff, for, I don't know, 5 years, maybe whatever, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a lot of practice at it. So,
yeah, but I mean, they got better mics. I mean,
well,
like,
well, yeah. I mean,
multi-million-dollar corporation.
I get it. But it's just the sort of thing that none of these people had to think about such things before. There were always people to handle that for them, I think there was a lot of that going on. So, I'm giving them a little leeway, Let's see if they do something. If they do something, hopefully it's really good, this E3 thing. I'm thinking these things are going to get better in a virtual sense here as time goes on.
Yeah. I mean, I still personally don't think it was a learning thing. I think it was just trying to do it on the cheap because they didn't think it was going to last.
Maybe. You know what? There could be, both aspects of that.
Like, we're not going to invest in that equipment. We're only doing it for like 6 months.
Right.
And this will all blow over.
Yeah. Well, maybe they've learned that, I guess we're going to be doing this for a while, so maybe we'll put a little investment into it.
Yeah. Maybe try a little bit.
Yeah.
People saw right through that one. All right.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson.
Oh, him again?
Yeah. I mean, it's him again with this like big wonder, like, he's supposed to be doing this trilogy.
Right. Well, yeah, he's still in. Yeah.
He says this, yes. But we haven't seen any type of progress, right? I mean, this is one of the first ones that were announced.
Yeah.
It's the only one from the first round that's still supposedly happening.
Right. It was announced that he was going to have his own trilogy before he was done making The Last Jedi.
Yeah. I mean, this was announced before Colin Trevorrow was announced to be doing.
Right.
So, and we're just kind of like, well, I mean, where is it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, so apparently he's near signing a deal with Netflix.
Wait. Star Wars is going to Netflix now?
No, negative.
Oh.
For Knives Out. So for 2 Knives Out sequels.
Oh. Okay.
And this is and I can't say I blame him. This is a $400 million plus deal, right?
Oh, okay.
It's going to be one of the largest movie deals ever.
Yeah.
For Netflix, if not the largest.
Yeah. That's pretty big.
It's big. But you think 2 movies, well, that ought to wrap them up for about, let's just say 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, probably. I mean, wow. So when's he working on this Star Wars trilogy?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Interesting.
Like, is it like Star Wars 2030? Like,
yeah, yes, it probably is. Interesting. That's wow. I'm just having a thought here. It's like, maybe he's trying to capitalize on the success and acclaim of Knives Out, whereas, success for sure, but acclaim, waning, we'll say, for The Last Jedi. So I just wonder if he's kind of like sticking to doing things more of what he likes. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know.
I mean, it could be.
I have yet to see the first one, Knives Out. But from everything that I've heard, it's a good movie. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's got great reviews and
right.
The audiences seem to love it. I haven't seen it either.
Wow.
But I mean, apparently some people like it. I mean, $400 million is nothing to.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's there's got to be enough desire from audience to check this out. For them to want to do these sequels, that's, you're right. That's a lot of money. So
yeah.
And they must believe that it's going to.
This isn't like the production budget here.
Oh, this is for Ryan, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is to acquire these movies.
Wow. So they must believe that having these films on their service is going to attract enough people to, warrant it. So I mean, that's strictly a business decision there, you know? So, interesting. I don't know. I'm going to have to check that one out, you know, see what all the fuss is about, I guess.
I mean, this is another thing that a company's looking at, like things like that, not to get too like business side of things, but I mean, the first film they made for $40 million.
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
So they made that film for $40 million, and it made globally more than $311 million.
Wow.
So that's attractive.
Yeah.
Wait, you can do a film for this kind of budget and make that much money?
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So they're definitely looking at, you know, keeping their customer base that they have and hopefully expanding some in order to see these sequels. Because, you know, that's kind of the business they're in.
Yep. So, yeah. But it doesn't look good for the Star Wars project.
No, I'd say that's going to be put on the back burner. If this is kind of like, you know, happening in the near future, yeah. Sounds to me like Star Wars is kind of, yeah, we'll just revisit that sometime.
I'll get to it when I get to it.
Right.
All right. So I'm looking at my notes here.
Yeah.
And I got a question for you, Doug. I got this written down, and I don't understand. What the hell do Duck Dodgers and Star Wars have in common?
Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
Okay.
Well, you know, hey, it's one of those things, right? Brings you back from your childhood, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So there was a post by Tune In With Me. Says Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century was ranked number 4 of the 50 greatest cartoons of all time by animation professionals. Whoever that is, I don't know. And it goes on to say, and did you know George Lucas requested it to be shown before Star Wars in its first theatrical run?
No, I did not know that.
Nor did I. But Mark Hamill replied with, George really did want this classic Daffy Duck cartoon shown before every screening of Star Wars. It would have been an icebreaker to let the audience know what was coming was less than dead serious. I was disappointed when we couldn't get the rights to it, and it didn't happen. So, I gotta be honest, I never knew that, but I think that's
Nor did I.
awesome. I mean, that's George for you, though. I mean, he loved all of that classic stuff, and when I went and pulled that clip, I saw the copyright on that was 1953. Ooh, that's been around a while. So,
in a minute.
And so when you really think about it, George was young when he first saw that, you know, but it's something that hit home with him, made him laugh. And I think he was hoping that a lot of that same, you know, I don't know, that humor will work its way into, you know, the audience for Star Wars. Kind of set him up for it, you know. So I don't know. I just thought it was neat. Just a little anecdote, but kind of cool.
I mean, it makes sense. You get a chuckle before you start. It puts you in a different mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, you get done watching Duck Dodgers and then you see the crawl for the first time. And it's like, oh, princess, you know, running with these plans. What? Okay.
You know, in all honesty, I feel like it would make it feel like Star Wars was more serious.
Yeah, in contrast, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, you think about it. You go from Duck Dodgers to seeing Vader enter enter the 10 at 4, and you're like, oh, wow. Yeah, he just like,
this took a turn.
he just broke that dude's neck with one hand. Wow. You know? Yeah.
Not only that, just like held him up
Exactly.
while he spoke to him calmly.
Still asking him a question as you hear his neck crunching. Yeah.
Yep. What, you ain't got nothing to say?
Exactly.
I never got that in film, right? Like, tell me, you're choking him, dude. He can't.
I know. That's part of what made him so brutal, though.
I know.
I'm still asking you the question, even though I know you're just going to die. So, yeah. Had to make the stormtroopers nervous.
Yeah. I mean, if that didn't, the fact that he just would choke them for the hell of it.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess I wouldn't want to be an admiral under Vader's command. Yeah.
No.
We saw how that went.
Yeah. To find out you were promoted, you got to be like, damn.
Exactly. I just want to be an ensign. I'll just play this thing around, okay?
Yeah. No. Didn't you know I signed up for janitorial?
Right. Yeah. Of course, don't miss a spot on Vader's floor.
Yeah. Yep. That would not be good. That would not be good. Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, I think it's about high time for that rabbit hole.
Yes. This rabbit hole that I kind of like, I'd say I stumbled and fell into. It's kind of revisiting a lot of stuff that we've talked about in the past, but this is one of those things where you see something said in the present, and it triggers a lot of memories you have of things you talked about in the past. So, interesting stuff that we might be able to put together a little bit. So, a book was recently released, called Star Wars Skywalker: A Family at War. Okay, this book goes through the adventures of Anakin, Padme, Luke, Leia, and a lot of people that entered their lives. So, a passage I'm reading from a post here. A passage in this book makes mention of Obi-Wan Kenobi's life in the years following Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, which naturally brings up one of the last things that Obi-Wan learned about in the movie: the ability to use the Force to retain consciousness after death. Yoda told Obi-Wan that his old master, Qui-Gon Jinn, contacted him from beyond the grave and wanted to teach his old Padawan about this secret power. In the years afterward, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon communicated with one another telepathically from time to time, and it was presumed by many fans that he never appeared as a Force spirit due to not completely learning the technique required to extend life beyond death. What's new, however, is a time frame of when Qui-Gon first physically appeared as a Force spirit to his student, 10 years after the fall of the Jedi Order. Excuse me. So, that kind of clicked 10 years after the fall of Jedi Order. And remembered, we had this announcement.
Last August at the D23 Expo in Anaheim, we announced the return of Ewan McGregor in the iconic role of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi for a special event series on Disney+. Obi-Wan Kenobi begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Revenge of the Sith, where
10 years. So, yeah. So that kind of falls in line. So, from here, this article goes on. The time frame on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series shifted around a little bit in the writing stages. Originally, the show was meant to be set 8 years after Revenge of the Sith, but later story revisions put the show 10 years later. This means that the timeline of events described in the book potentially match up with the timeline of the series, and with it presents the possibility of Liam Neeson could return to the Star Wars franchise once again. And it goes on, yeah. Liam Neeson could return, right? It's kind of lining up. Things are, but now I thought, okay, the last time we heard from Liam Neeson, he put it out there like he didn't even think Star Wars was a thing anymore.
Right.
But I guess let's pay attention to like how he's reacting here. Cause if we're going to read into the way people say stuff, which is what we as fans do, right? We nitpick. So let's do that. Let's look at it from that kind of angle.
Are you a little surprised at the fans still wanting you to return to play Qui-Gon in some way?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard that at all.
Oh, I've definitely heard it.
Okay. Sure, I'd like to. I mean, I'm wondering, is Star Wars starting to fade away from the cinema landscape, do we think?
Actually, Disney Plus is launching like 10 series that are based on Star Wars, and one of them is an Obi-Wan series with Ewan McGregor.
Okay. They're sort of spin-offs, are they?
Yeah, it's gonna take place. See, I was wondering if Ewan had called you and said, hey, I'm doing a spin-off series. Maybe we can do like a flashback.
Sure, I'd be up for that. Yeah.
I hope you get to return. I loved your work in Star Wars.
So is it just me, or does that now sound like, he's trying to divert by saying, is Star Wars like fading away into nothing? Kind of, like.
Yeah, I mean, so in his deflections there, it almost sounded like, dude, there's no way you're this far under a rock.
Exactly.
Like,
that's the point. You're
like,
an actor.
One thing was,
I think,
maybe he hasn't heard that. Wait, Star Wars is fading away, right?
Right.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So,
it's like a spinoff. What? There's no way you're this far under a rock.
Well, it's so the thing that got me was it was when the interviewer says, there's been talk of you playing in, Ewan McGregor's coming back for Kenobi. He's like, oh, okay. It's like, you know about this. Okay. It's almost like he was told you can't talk about this. Right. But so he might've been thinking, well, people don't know about this then. But then when it was brought up to him, people know that it's coming. I just can't talk about it. Right. So I don't know. It's kind of just funny. I got a feeling we're going to end up seeing Liam Neeson in that show.
I think you're right. I think his deflections were a little too sketchy.
Yeah.
Like, it was a little too far.
Exactly.
Like, do you not have a TV?
Right. Exactly.
Or do you never go anywhere and, like...
Yeah.
You've never been to the grocery store and seen the cereal boxes and the
exactly.
Like, yeah, you're a little. It seems like you're definitely off the grid.
Yeah, it's either that or you're trying to like, yeah. It's one of those. Yep, don't want to talk about this. Let's talk about something else. Time to go. Gotta go. Yeah.
Oh, look at the time.
Yep. So, in lieu of all of that we were looking at, I'm thinking, okay, 10 years from Revenge of the Sith seems like quite a while, and that's when apparently when Obi-Wan communes with Qui-Gon. So I thought, okay, I don't know, they talked about this in Revenge of the Sith, so let's, refresh ourselves as to what exactly was said here.
And what of the boy?
To Tatooine, to his family sent him.
I will take the child and watch over him.
Until the time is right, disappear we will. Master Kenobi, wait a moment. In your solitude on Tatooine, training I have for you.
Training?
An old friend has learned the path to immortality. One who has returned from the netherworld of the Force. Your old master.
Qui-Gon.
How to commune with him, I will teach you.
So, now knowing that it's going to take 10 years in order for Obi-Wan to be able to make contact with Qui-Gon, it makes me examine what was said there a little more. So Yoda's going to teach him, how to go down the path. He said he has training for him, right? So that means Obi-Wan's going to have to put forth effort in order to be able to do this.
Well, hold on just 1 second.
Yeah.
Now it's not 10 years before he actually speaks to Obi-Wan. It's just 10 years before he's able to materialize.
Sure.
So they speak before this, right? That's.
Well, Qui-Gon has clearly done this with Yoda prior.
Right.
So this is still a learning process for Qui-Gon, apparently. You know.
Because he never learned how to actually materialize, only to speak.
Right.
Okay.
But, this...
the blue glowy secret. He never had the blue glowy secret. Right.
But I got a feeling that we might actually get to see this, in the Kenobi series, because, why wouldn't you? But I think we might actually see, Kenobi working at it, right?
Right.
Putting forth the effort, putting the work in to do his part to help make this happen. And the other thing that strikes me about that scene every time is knowing what we know about, the time span between episode 3 and 4 and just what Obi-Wan's committing to do by watching over this infant in Luke. It's like, that is heavy to me every time. Like, I'm deciding right now in this moment to basically forfeit the rest of my life,
right,
to watch over this kid.
In what is presumably the worst hiding spot ever.
Exactly.
Like, we need to hide him. Oh, take him to his family.
Right.
What?
Exactly. So, it's funny you say that.
I feel like if I were Obi-Wan right there, I'd turn to him and say, look, you said me going after the Emperor was too dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to handle that. But you're telling me to go hide this kid with his family?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's...
Hey, it all works out in the end, right? I mean...
Yeah,
maybe not for Obi-Wan, but...
it's not like he's sitting there with... It's not like they have a sign out there that says Skywalker, It's not their last name.
It's true.
But, Anakin knows who they are.
Right. That is true. Well, speaking of they... we talked last week about this announcement, right? Of the cast of Kenobi.
Right.
We kind of glazed over it. There was other things going on, right? There was, bad batch talk and all that, right? But looking at this announcement a little deeper, there's a couple people in there that, I guess deserve a little more recognition or something, don't you think?
Yeah.
So in there was Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace were announced as part of the cast for Kenobi. So if you don't recognize those names, that is Owen and Beru from Revenge of the Sith. Now,
right.
Yeah, well, yes, at the end. So that is very interesting to me because since they're going to be in Kenobi, it made me think of something else. So let's take a quick listen to this and then we can discuss.
You know, I think that R2 unit we bought might have been stolen.
What makes you think that?
Well, I stumbled across a recording while I was cleaning him. He says he belongs to someone called Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought he might have meant old Ben. Do you know what he's talking about? Oh, I wonder if he's related to Ben.
That wizard's just a crazy old man. But tomorrow I want you to take that R2 unit to Anchorhead and have its memory erased. That'll be the end of it. It belongs to us now.
But what if this Obi-Wan comes looking for him?
He won't. I don't think he exists anymore. He died about the same time as your father.
He knew my father?
I told you to forget it.
I love that. Because I said so. Stop it.
Right.
So, but I just remembered that scene and I thought, wow, they're going to be in Kenobi. You know, these characters, Owen, Beru, and what are we going to get to see in this series that makes Owen have such a negative opinion of Obi-Wan, you know, or at least portray that negative opinion to Luke, you know?
Right.
I have a feeling there's got to be something, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be, what I'm imagining here is, you know, a discussion, but, you know, maybe we're in Anchorhead or something, right? Owen's in town to pick up some power converters and Obi-Wan's there and, you know, just to talk with Owen, hey, how's Luke doing? This and that, you know that he's more important to the galaxy than anybody else. And Owen's like, I just want him to have a normal life, you know, that kind of, you know, that push and pull, you know. I think that could help make an interesting story, you know?
Yeah, either that or, you know, some of Obi-Wan's activities may bring some heat to Tatooine.
Oh, that's possible. That's absolutely possible.
And that now brings him to like, no, you just stay away.
Right.
Like I could almost see him being very involved for the beginning.
Yep.
But he ends up bringing some heat down and they're like, no, that was too close.
And, you know, really when you think about it, at 10 years in, that would put Luke at an age where, you know, things might be starting to pop up, right? You think about Anakin, it's like, you know, I know, you know, talking about racing pod racers, and it's like I just know the move before I need to know the move kind of thing he's talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Luke might be starting to see some of, or, you know, Owen and Beru might be starting to see some of that come out in Luke, you know, and they don't want to see happen to him what eventually does, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we saw in Rebels, right? When he has his confrontation with Maul.
Right.
He's close by.
Oh, yeah. 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 Because
he's not, like, across the desert, right? Like,
oh, no. He's definitely keeping an eye out.
Right.
And that's another, you said it, right? Maybe he brings some heat. Well, Maul was there. You know,
yeah,
maybe the Lars family didn't really realize it, but Maul was there.
I mean, that's true. I almost feel like Obi-Wan would end up telling them about it.
Yeah, it's possible.
And they would be like, okay, you need to get the hell out of here.
Exactly. That's, you think about it, any parent would be like that.
Yeah.
You know, you want to protect your kids, and Luke's an adopted kid to them. You're like, look, we don't mind raising him, but God, just keep all your wizardry away. Yeah. That's I think some drama could come into play there with that. I like it.
Look, we've had enough of this Skywalker mess.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to end up burned up in front of my house,
right?
Because you can't stay out of a war.
Exactly. His dad was here killing Tuskens. That's hilarious.
And it does. It makes perfect sense that they would be protective.
Right.
They wouldn't want to take on this, responsibility of taking care of Luke just to squander it away by training him to fight in the next war.
Right. Yeah. And in a situation like they live a simple life, they don't need that kind of drama, brought into their backyard, which, we all know it eventually happens, but that they're going to try and avoid it as much as they can.
Yeah. I mean, I almost imagine Owen's last words were like, I knew it.
Exactly. That old man was going to get us into trouble. And it's funny because as he's telling Luke, like, that wizard's just a crazy old man. Then it's like, no, I think he died around the same time as your father. It's like, wait a minute, wait. You don't know about him, or you do, or what? What's going on here? You could tell Owen's just trying to figure out something to say to get Luke to shut up. Then he finally just says, "That's it." Well,
here's a question for you then.
Yeah.
Do you think Owen knows about Vader?
I'm sure of it. Well, yeah, I would imagine, because I got a feeling that you're right when you said early on they probably touch base quite a bit, Obi-Wan and Owen.
Right.
So, and I don't think it took Obi-Wan very long to figure out, of course he knew the name Darth Vader. So if he sees Darth Vader, all in black with the helmet, on the HoloNet or something,
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it went down like, will you take the child? And they're like, yes, they look at the sunset and everything, and Obi-Wan's running away going, oh yeah, watch out for his bloodthirsty father that turned to the dark side.
Exactly.
Wait, what?
I cut 3 of his limbs off.
And he's pissed.
Yeah. Set him on fire too, by the way. Yes. Probably didn't go that way.
Yeah, you think you would lead off with that, right? Like,
exactly.
But then again, I mean, do you think right away Obi-Wan knows that Anakin's still alive? So, I mean, that would have to be something that come out a little later.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, they know Palpatine's still out there, but they don't know about Anakin.
Right. I think as Obi-Wan walked away, got on the ship and flew off, he thought Anakin was going to expire. Yeah. But I'm sure it came out one way or the other, and again, with the announcements that we've had, Kathleen Kennedy said, rematch of the century. So if they ran their paths crossed at some point before episode 4, then I could see him going, whoa, that's you, then heading back to the Lars
almost
homestead.
Like an Ahsoka moment.
Right. And then heading back to the Lars homestead. Boy, have I got a story for you.
Yeah.
Let's have a
Turns
beer
out.
and talk. Yeah.
Turns out his dad's still alive.
Right.
He's a Sith Lord ruling alongside the Emperor.
Yep.
Oh, and we just met and he wants to kill me.
Exactly. So that could be good reason for Owen wanting to distance himself from Obi-Wan. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
I don't know. As I read that story, I just went down this little,
Yeah, I just can't imagine that they, there's that handoff and they're just like, okay, we don't want you around, like.
Right. It's really, there's a dichotomy, right? Between what you see at the end of Revenge of the Sith and what we see in A New Hope. It's almost like some sort of animosity going on in A New Hope, and they were like all friendly at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So it really had to make you wonder, like, what happened there? And we did. We wondered, and we're apparently going to find out.
Well, at least we hope so.
We definitely hope so. I would like to see, Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace have a more significant role in this show. Even more so than they had in, Attack of the Clones and definitely more than in Revenge of the Sith, so.
Right. Yeah.
I think it would be, very cool. Expand on that story.
Well, I mean, have they said how many episodes this is going to be?
Oh, I've heard, I've heard it seems to keep going down to me, right? If I recall over time, I think it was started out at like 8 and then it went to 6 and now it's 4 or something like that, but they're going to be longer episodes. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not sure. It's all been just rumor anyway. So,
because I mean, everything we just covered right there, I mean, that's a lot to cover.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, for a mini series, I mean, it would have to be, longer episodes. I mean, each episode approaching feature length, right?
I would hope so.
I don't think you bring in this cast and have something that's, 40-minute episodes 4 times.
Exactly.
I think you go for it.
Yeah. That's the thing about this. Even, for a streaming service, and we know darn well that they do it big, right? Look at The Mandalorian. But Ewan's a heavy hitter,
Yeah.
Same with Hayden, you're bringing in 2 of the all-stars right there of Star Wars. Yeah, do it up, do it big,
And you're covering one of the most mysterious times, right?
That's true. It's true because this was pretty much untouched by the EU up until now,
Right.
Rebels, anyway.
Rebels really is was the first official thing that waded into that time period.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, it's still relatively, this period's still relatively untouched.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm loving it. Can't wait. Hopefully, we're going to be blown away.
Yep. All right. Well, if you have anything to add to that, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.